If it's Monday night, oh yes it is. Ridiculously Raw. Hello friends, it's the ridiculously over gentleman Anthony Florio here with you for the go home, the fast lane edition of Ridiculously Raw. We are delighted to have you with us on this Monday night. Our other panelist, the Phenom Michael Bullock, will be coming in late. We'll catch him up on what he missed as soon as he arrives. So don't worry, you'll get your Phenom fix. Don't worry. But for the time being, I'm joined by the host of the Cerebral Smack Talk, Girl MF Michael Fletcher, First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel Dee Dee Woodson, along with one of our mascots, Callie the Wonder Cat Page. Great to have her with us as well. So, yes, Lord, what a night we got here tonight. The theme for the last several weeks. What's been the theme of Ridiculously Raw? Interesting and newsworthy, and of course, this show tonight, no exception. As we were live from the Rush Center in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Oh boy, I mean, the only gripe I had about this show tonight was, yeah, there's going to be quite a few cutouts, I'll be honest. But was it just me, or was that crowd, oh boy, was that crowd dead, or was that crowd dead? I mean, that crowd, oi, oh boy. And you wonder why Green Bay is not in IWC territory. That's all I can say about that. Next week, however, that's a completely different story, and we'll get into that later on. But for right now, let's do what we always do here on Ridiculously Raw. We're going to review Monday Night Raw. This was the go-home show for Fastlane. Of course, I'll also have my Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. Both with positive reviews, I'll be honest, including in one of those reviews, I'm gonna have a surprise comment about something that I've been bashing for quite a while, and it really surprised the hell out of me. So there's an incentive to tune in right there. So, without any further ado, my friends, let's get into it here. We started it off with we had with an in-ring segment. Bill Goldberg kicked off the show. Basically, cutting his promo and what in the whole 9 yards regarding Kevin Owens and their Universal Championship match coming up Sunday night at Fastlane. But then he was interrupted by the Universal Champion Kevin Owens. They had a back and forth, and that was basically what it was. And well, I'll say it like this: they laid it on so thick with Goldberg's promises that they are essentially telling fans that he's going to win the title. It may disappoint fans who wanted to be surprised, but it's not a bad strategy, as fans want to experience history. Michael Fletcher and I, we remember TNA taking a similar approach with Samoa Joe winning their World Heavyweight Championship. And what happened? Not much, just led to a surge in pay-per-view buys. I'm still wondering why they had Owens take a more serious approach going into the match rather than saving his character shift for post Fastlane. And I just came across a dirt sheet here in the world of professional wrestling just now, and I'm going to share that content as part of my Tony's take. And it's big news, and I do mean massive news from TNA. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So stay tuned for that. So as far as this segment goes, like I said, this it's one of the segments of the night. It's not the segment of the night. I am not in good conscience going to do that. But it was a very good segment, and considering that this is the Universal Championship, there's a part of me that wanted to see this close the show. But at the same time, after what we just witnessed at the end of tonight's show, maybe they did the right thing after all. So, good start to the show, and good final hype for the Universal Championship match Sunday night in Milwaukee, or Milwaukee, which, as we all know, is Algonquin for the good land. So there you go. So that being said, let's bring in the host of the Cerebral Smack Talk, the one and only Girl MF Michael Fletcher, and MF Kevin Owens, Bill Goldberg. Final hype for their Universal title match. Did this live up to that hype?
I've been very skeptical, very whatever about leading in because of the inevitability that I believe that Goldberg's going to win the belt and the whole 9 yards. Well, I don't know, because I stumbled across a dirt sheet. I don't know if this is legit, but if this is legit, then there might be a game changer heading into WrestleMania, and we might actually get a major payoff here. Supposedly a thing got leaked out. Now, like I said, I don't know if this is legit. I pray that it is, but it might not be. I don't know. Because supposedly, allegedly, today, about maybe, I want to say about an hour and a half ago, maybe 2 hours ago, a copy or something got leaked out on the internet that looks like a legit wrestling card for WrestleMania. And the reason why I think this could be legit is because the fight card itself has basically rumored matches we were predicting going into WrestleMania. It's on Facebook. I don't know the site. I'm trying to grab it right now so that I can actually screenshot it, but I might not screenshot it tonight out of the fear of copyright, and I don't want to get you in trouble, Anthony. And that's the thing, because if this is a legit WWE document that got leaked out, I am not going to put you in peril here tonight for us to see. We could probably do it post-game, then I'll do it. But I'm not going to put you in that lion's den. I'm not going to get you in trouble for our own factor. But apparently a copy of matches that could possibly happen at WrestleMania has been leaked. But again, I don't know if this is legit or if this is somebody trying to pull our leg, trying to pull a ruse. But it looks legit. It feels legit because some of the matches that is listed for WrestleMania might actually happen on the show. And that's why I really want to be very cautious with what I'm reporting or what I'm saying, out of respect that this is from the IWC. You can take it with a grain of salt. However, if this is legit, and I mean this, two things is going to happen at WrestleMania. First, Kevin Owens will retain the Universal Championship and will fight Chris Jericho at WrestleMania for the belt. Number two, we already know that Goldberg versus Lesnar is happening at WrestleMania. That has already been practically confirmed. And what could happen at WrestleMania is that this fight between Lesnar and Goldberg has been listed. Now, this is, again, not official. And I'm just going off this supposed lineup leak. They're classifying it as a career-ending match between Lesnar and Goldberg. Okay, now back to Monday Night Raw and back to the segment. I thought Goldberg was all right. I didn't really care too much about what he was doing, how he was playing. It felt a little forced. It didn't feel as passionate enough. As far as Owens goes, it was okay. I liked it. Again, I wasn't writing too much about it either. So, with that said, I'm just going to move on. What's in? You've been having some issues with um your audio all night. I hope you got it now because, my dear, you're up. So it's up to you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yes.
Okay, then I guess I got it fixed. The segment for me was just okay. It wasn't anything I was super into. I mean, you've pretty much kind of drilled Kevin Owens' history in the ground here, and I mean, it's just the same old, same old. Yeah, storyline progression, but I wasn't impressed with the segment, so let's move on.
All right, and now we're gonna move on. We go from the serious stuff to the funny haha nonsense. So we had the New Day, and they cut the usual promo. They had the little funny haha stuff, you know, and whatnot. For those who watched the Oscars, I'm gonna be honest. I did actually see a little bit of it, you know, while I was at I had a family dinner last night, and we actually saw a little bit of it. I'll be honest, but once I got home, I didn't care anymore about it because I'm not really into these, you know, these namby-pamby award shows, honestly. But basically, WWE was, poking fun at the little dipsy do botcheroo that went down last night. And I know MF was all over it because MF was reporting on all things Oscars last night, being the correspondent that he is for award shows. They basically, what happened was, we all know New Day is going to be hosting WrestleMania, and we thought they were going to be going up, they were going to have a match against the Shining Stars, but they said, no, actually, we're not fighting you. We actually have a match against Rusev and Jinder Mahal. You Shining Stars are going to be in a handicap match against the Big Show. And apparently no one in the Green Bay crowd watched the Oscars, or they just didn't find the skit funny. I, for one, didn't find it funny at all. And it was not a good night for New Day at that point. But it did get better because the New Day went up against Jinder Mahal and Rusev. The New Day won the bout in 9 minutes and 45 seconds after Xavier Woods with a roll-up on Jinder Mahal for the 1-2-3, a distraction by Kofi Kingston and Lana. And you know Rusev, if anybody messes with Lana, you know you're going to get that bolt. Oh, yeah. So, and that basically what happened. So, I'm going to take a wild guess. I'm going to take a stab in the dark here and say MF and Didi probably don't want to get into this fight because of the talent that's involved. And if that's the case, that's more than fine. And you know me, I just want to be sure. So am I correct in this? My friend? So just move on and I'll give my liner note on it like I usually do for cutouts. All right. I'll take that as, yeah, I figured. Okay. Go on. Yep. All right. I'll give you my, I'll do what I usually do during cutouts, and that's give you my liner note on it. Crowd was more receptive to New Day during the bout, but this is as flat as the act has felt in a long time. And let the record show that the dairy state, which Wisconsin is, did not pop for the New Day ice cream. So yeah. Basically, it sold like a lead balloon. That's really what it was, and but don't worry, it will get better. I promise you that. So, but I am actually gonna give the fight 2.5 stars, and I'm actually gonna give it the second best. I'm actually gonna call it the second best fight of the night, honestly. it wasn't bad. It was just a bit bland and lethargic in the first part. The final third or so turned it around. I just wish they showed some of that aggression early instead of working 5 to 6 minutes of filler before acting as if they cared. So, but I am going to give it 2.5 stars for the effort, though, and call it the second best fight of the night. So, with that being said, let's move on. I believe there will be another cutout here. Yes, cruiserweight matchup. We had Akira Tozawa squaring off against Noam Dar with Alicia Fox in his corner. Akira Tozawa wins the bout in 3 minutes. I know this will probably be a cutout as well. It was another good showing for Tozawa, who managed to get the crowd behind him more than most of the cruiserweight baby faces. And I, for one, can tell you, as someone who watched the Cruiserweight Classic from start to finish last summer, I'll admit it, not ashamed to admit it, Akira Tozawa was one of my standout performers, no doubt about it. Even though TJ Perkins won it, the guy that I thought was the most standout and the one who really impressed me the most was Kota Ibushi. It's a damn shame that they couldn't get a deal done with him. I mean, he would have been a major shot in the arm for this struggling cruiserweight division. I do mean struggling. I'm going to give this no rating to a dud. Akira Tozawa has done really well getting himself over in these short matches. He picked up a good win. They announced the pay-per-view kickoff match, and then afterwards continued Tozawa versus Kendrick. Overall, a good segment. And by the way, that pay-per-view kickoff show that's being mentioned here, and it will go down as part of the kickoff show for Fastlane Sunday night. Cruiserweight tag team match. The Brian Kendrick teams up with Noam Dar, and they're going to square off against Akira Tozawa and another former cruiserweight champion, the outlandish Rich Swann. You can't handle this. So Tozawa and Swann versus Kendrick and Dar as part of the Fastlane kickoff show on Sunday night. So definitely looking forward to seeing how that one goes down. But that fight was no rating to a dud. And then we had the women. It was time for the ladies. At first we had Charlotte Flair and Dana Brooke. We thought we were going to go right into the match, but no. It turns out that they had Charlotte cut a promo, and another Bayley bashing promo, and then Bayley shows up and has her rebuttal, and then Sasha shows up, and it was scheduled to be Charlotte Flair and Dana Brooke versus Sasha Banks and Bayley, but the Queen had a trick up her sleeve. Dana Brooke out, Nia Jax in. So it was Charlotte and Nia Jax squaring off against Raw Women's Champion Bayley and Sasha Banks. Winners of the match in 12.5 minutes. Charlotte, Flair, Nia Jax with the leg drop on Bayley for the 1-2-3. And it was also announced that at Fastlane, not only are we going to see Bayley and Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship, but we're also going to see, in a match made by Commissioner Stephanie McMahon, Sasha Banks will go one-on-one one more time with Nia Jax. So, MF, we're going to start it off with you here since we're back into relevant stuff finally. Here we go again with these four. So how did this tag team match with Charlotte and Nia and Sasha and Bayley, how did it strike you?
I mean, it struck me pretty good. I mean, it wasn't the most amazing match, but I think for what it's worth and for everything that came into everything that played out, I thought at the end of the day, the match was solid. I thought it was good. I think everybody played their roles really well. And I also like the fact of how everything came together. I love the fact that, you had solid battle, these ladies just basically holding nothing back. And I really like the fact of how everything kind of felt. It felt like it was a little bit meaningful, but look at in the ending, Nia Jax comes out looking really strong. She destroys both Bayley and Sasha, and you also see, the mistakes that were made as a team. It's not that Bailey and Sasha were a well-oiled machine this time around. You saw there was mistakes, especially at the end. How Nia Jax used Sasha as a weapon, basically body slamming her right on top of Bailey, giving her the opportunity to win that match and get the 1-2-3, and thus give kind of a little bit of momentum for herself. But on top of that, oh my goodness, I mean, what do you have to say, or what do you think about what Charlotte Flair did, pulling having an ace in her sleeve and pulling it out tonight, instead of thinking that, oh, it was gonna be Dana Brooke, that it's not Dana, that it ended up being Nia Jax. So, I mean, how do you prepare where you're thinking, oh, it's gonna be Dana, Oh no, now you gotta basically face off somebody more dangerous, more stronger, more, and this is the outcome that we got. I don't know what to say or what to think. It's just, end of the day, solid, good. I'll give this about maybe 2.25 stars, maybe flirting with 2.5, but I'm not gonna go anything more further than that. But like I said, I think they did good for what it was worth, and there's really nothing more to say. So, Edie Woodson, I'll give it to you, my dear.
Yeah, I'll give it 2 stars. It wasn't the greatest match in the world, like you said, but it had relevance, just to the storyline that's been going on and everything. And things in wrestling don't always play fair, and this would be one of those situations where it didn't play fair, because you have 2 people expecting one person and getting somebody totally different out there, and nobody was prepared for the monster of that Nia Jax is in the ladies division. But I can say it was not a whole hum diva fight, because they did put up a pretty good fight. But in the end, Nia Jax pretty much the Samoa Joe of the women. So not much more to say to it. So Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, no matter where you stand on the debate of how Bailey won the championship and her decision to keep it, the simple truth is that they wouldn't need to justify her decision as much as they did had they simply given her the same clean win over Charlotte that Sasha was given last week. As far as the match is concerned, a nice win for Jax, yet Bailey has no momentum as a new champion. Perhaps that will change if she beats Charlotte on Sunday night. Big if, by the way. I don't think it will happen, but we'll see. As far as this match is concerned, I agree. I'm going to give it a solid 2 stars for the effort. Third best fight of the night. Much like the promo, the match was just there. Not particularly bad, but not good enough to make me care about the title match on Sunday or the 4-way that they are building to. Of course, these 4 are rumored to be in a fatal 4-way match at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's Championship, and we'll wait and see how that goes down. But for right now, this was just all right for what it was. So that's all there is to it. So, and now we're back to cutouts here, folks. And I did forget to mention on the disclaimer for this show tonight, quite a few cutouts here, which is gonna make this show fly by rather quicker than usual. We then had another match. It was a one-on-one match. We had Big Cass squaring off against Luke Gallows, one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions. As we all know, Enzo and Cass will challenge Gallows and Anderson for the Raw Tag Team Championship Sunday night at Fastlane. But this was a preview bout. Big Cass wins it, 2 minutes and 45 seconds with a big boot. No rating to a dud here. It was fine for the time given. Cass getting the win gives the challengers momentum heading into their title match this weekend. And what else is there to say on that except if Cass was a real man, he would have faced Anderson and Gallows just like Roman Reigns did the last 2 weeks. But joking aside, the tag champs were roughed up by Reigns 2 weeks in a row, and now Gallows lost clean to Cass. Ouch. So that's pretty much all there is to say on that. And then we had another cutout fight. We had Sheamus going one-on-one with Titus O'Neil. Sheamus wins the bout in a minute. No rating to a dud. Worst fight of the night. It was filler, but thankfully quick and needed, since Cesaro is likely going to lose to I'm actually gonna refrain from that. It was filler, but it was thankfully quick and it was needed. So that's really all I can say on that. So
I just want to drop just a moment. I liked the angle here in this fight to show a real aggressive side to Titus O'Neil. It was a side that we haven't seen in a long time, and I kind of liked it. I liked that brawling. It felt, even though I know it was a minute, and I know it ended up being a squash, but there was a moment there when they were brawling outside the ring. It felt like a be a man fight, and I was like, and I was pleasantly surprised. But then, like you said, once he hit him with that bro kick, I'm like, okay, status quo as usual. But I liked it for the most part, but let down at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's pretty much it. So, all right, now we're really gonna get into some relevant stuff here. I mean, yeah, there are still more cutouts here, but this is by far not a cutout. The Goldberg segment was one of the segments that they were hyping for this show tonight. The other, an interview with Seth Rollins. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. Before we have Dee Whitson started off, because Dee's gonna be leading off on this. Before we get it to you, let me just say it like this: I honestly thought it was gonna be another one of those sit-down interviews with Michael Cole. No, it was a sit-down interview in the ring, and Corey Graves actually sat down with Seth Rollins. Of course, we all know there is a lot of history with Corey Graves and Seth Rollins dating back to their days in NXT. And Corey asked the questions about will he be at WrestleMania. Rollins initially said, "I'm not going to be at WrestleMania." Crowd was devastated, and then who showed up out of nowhere? We weren't expecting to see him tonight, but he was there. The game himself, Triple H. Of course, Samoa Joe was also out there with him, and they had their back and forth. There's what else is there to say? Except, well, we finally got the payoff when it comes to this segment. So Dee Whitson, let's start it off with you here. Seth Rollins, Corey Graves, sit-down interview. Triple H shows up. Finally, something that woke up that dreadful crowd in Green Bay.
For me, this was the segment of the night. I really got into the segment quite a bit. Although, at first I thought, okay, Rollins is going to come out here and he's going to, end up showing at the end that it was a fake injury, throw everything off and start attacking. But of course, we know that's not true. But, he did stand his own though, against Triple H and Joe, and, got his piece said, and you could tell, he was having a hard time talking about it with Corey before Triple H came out. But once Triple H came out, I mean, you saw Rollins for what he is, and he stood his ground. He showed that, I'm still it. I'm still here, and I'm not, I'm not the wishy-washy person you think I'm going to be. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to stand my ground, and I'm going to take out whoever I have to take out to get to Triple H. And because he kept looking back at Joe, and Triple H kept saying, "No, you look at me. I'm talking to you, not him." But he was prepared to battle both of them if he had to, even though he's not 100%. So, definitely good storyline progression, and definitely, left you wanting more to finding out. Okay, is this going to come down to um, Rollins and Joe or Rollins and Triple H? And I'm hoping more Rollins and Triple H because I want to see, Triple H get back in the ring again. I want to see an end to the Rollins Triple H storyline before they do anything else. So I got nothing more to say about it. So I toss it over to you.
Yeah, 100% segment of the night. Absolutely. Good segment in front of a tough crowd. The Green Bay fans weren't truly hot for much of anything since Bill Goldberg came out. Rollins struggled a bit during the interview with Graves, but the intensity between Rollins and Triple H was strong. I was waiting for this to turn out to be a Rollins trick that Hunter was lured into, but I like the idea of stretching this out and leaving viewers hoping that Rollins receives the medical clearance in time for WrestleMania. Really good segment overall with good intensity from both guys, setting the stage for what should be a heated Mania match. And there's no question about it. I'm really looking forward to it. And I have faith. It will happen. I know it'll happen. Rollins is going to get the clearance. No matter what anyone says, it will go down. So after what has been a dreadful Green Bay crowd, this segment definitely woke them up. That was the life that they needed after all those god awful cutouts and short bouts. So definitely the shot in the arm this crowd needed, and boy howdy, we got it. Especially when Hunter came out. I mean, boy howdy, they popped big when he came out. So well done, segment of the night, far and away. MF, what says you?
Segment of the night, no doubt about it. Far and away the best segment of the evening. And yeah, I truly believe that this was a really good segment. I wasn't really too keen on what I saw early when they started the segment. However, I think once we got to excuse me, once we got into um, the the nuts and bolts of it when Triple H showed up, and then that interaction there made it basically the best out of the night, and I really think that was really awesome. I thought after everything that went down, a great way to give, like you said, it gave the life to the show, and it finally gave us a reason to say, yes, this is what we've been waiting for. It's great job, guys. But nah, I mean, nothing more to say. That's it. Let's move on, guys.
Yeah, and now we're back to cutouts here. Shining Stars handicap match against the Big Show. Big Show wins 1 minute and 55 seconds. No rating to a dud yet again. It was fine for a handicap squash, but I was actually hoping for something better from Big Show coming off of his surprisingly good match with Braun Strowman last week. He really needs a mission statement promo. He just comes off as being content with winning meaningless matches like this one. The match last week with Strowman was so well received that this felt like an opportunity to breathe some new life into the show's character, or career rather. They didn't blow it, but they didn't really make a real effort either. And then from there, it was a simple squash to give Show a win and some momentum after last week's loss to Strowman. And the WrestleMania match with Shaquille O'Neal is reportedly up in the air at this point. So that's all I can say on that. And then we had another cruiserweight match. Cruiserweight champion Neville teaming up with the premier athlete Tony Nese. They went up against gentleman Jack Gallagher and TJ Perkins. Jack Gallagher and TJ Perkins win the match in 2 minutes. Normally, I would have MF join me on this one, but no way. Not after this debauchery. No way. Another no rating to a dud. It was quick and forgettable. The lack of time is disappointing considering they have a pay-per-view championship match on Sunday. And, I mean, It was solid for the time given, with Neville continuing to not give a crap about anyone but himself. I also like that they gave Gallagher an alternate finish, but it feels as if they are doing it too late for people to accept it as legit and care about it. They also keep mixing things up, as they are likely setting the cruiserweights up for a multi-man cluster bleep at Mania. But that's not what I'm hearing. It's not what MF is hearing. If what MF reported on this show about a couple of weeks ago is true, which we're praying to the good Lord that it is, we could be in for something really special when it comes to the cruiserweights at WrestleMania. Let's hope it's the route that they're going with. So,
Actually, based off the leak article, remember how you were saying about a multi-man ladder match for the title? How do you like a multi-man cruiserweight championship fight at WrestleMania?
All right. We'll definitely get more into that behind the scenes after the show. No question about that. But also when we do these shows during the road to WrestleMania, it's what would it be without a Hall of Fame induction? And we're definitely going to get into this. The latest inductee for the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2017, it was announced and it was reported not just by MF, but also reported by Derek Ferrera as well. We have our female inductee into the Hall of Fame, and it's none other than the Glamazon, Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix going into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2017, joining the likes of Kurt Angle, the Rock and Roll Express, Teddy Long, Diamond Dallas Page. Now we throw in the Glamazon. Some people like it. Others, like Derek Ferrera, don't like it because in many people's eyes, many felt that the female inductee this year should have been the late China, Joni Lauer, who passed away almost a year ago. And can't believe it's been that long already. It seems like just yesterday she passed, but let's run down the list of accomplishments for the Glamazon. It's not a lengthy one, but here it is nonetheless. In amateur wrestling, she was a Northeast Wrestling Women's Champion in 1999. And in that same year, in 1999, she was also a New York State Fair Women's Champion. In professional wrestling, Far North Wrestling Cruiserweight Champion. Won the Frank Gotch Award in 2015 as part of the George Tragos / Luthez International Wrestling Institute. Glory Championship as part of Glory Wrestling on one occasion. OVW. She was the OVW Women's Champion on one occasion. Pro Wrestling Illustrated ranked her number 2 of the top 50 female wrestlers in the PWI Female 50 in 2008 and 2012. And most notably in the WWE, 1-time Divas Champion, 3-time Women's Champion, 2008 Diva of the Year Slammy Award, and now the newest inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2017. Well deserved. I mean, back in the old days when MF and I used to do our Michael Bullock and I, we usually do the Raw chats nowadays, but years ago, MF and I used to do the Raw chats almost every single week. And I remember during that time frame, right around 06, 07, when the Glamazon debuted, oh boy, MF and I couldn't believe just how dominant this one was. And we had, in the immortal words of Broken Matt Hardy, we had a premonition that this one was going to be destined for great things. And boy, howdy, we were right. And back when we were doing our JR and Jerry Lawler shtick, I mean, we covered and called many of the Glamazon's matches. And, she had a lot of great matches. Mickie James, Kelly Kelly, Torres, just to name a few. But the matches of Mickie James, I mean, those were the ones that MF and I really got into. But not just Mickie James. There was also another rivalry that with Beth Phoenix that stood out. Melina Perez. I mean, the first ever women's I Quit match, Extreme Rules, One Night Stand, 2008 in San Diego. MF and I remember that very vividly. And we also remember the first ever women's tag team tables match when Beth Phoenix and Natalya went up against Michelle McCool and Layla at the 2010 TLC pay-per-view in Houston. So, but Beth Phoenix, strength and beauty personified. Not only was the woman beautiful, but she was powerful. And she's paved the way for all these great, beautiful and powerful women in wrestling today. Like your Awesome Kongs, your Jessica Havocs, your Nia Jaxes. And maybe you could even throw in Sienna from TNA. I mean, but she was the one. She was the one who paved it. And of course, we all remember 2010 Royal Rumble. She entered the Royal Rumble, eliminated the Great Khali in one of the more memorable and iconic eliminations in Royal Rumble match history. And, all the women's championships that she won, 3 times a women's champion. And, she had Glamorella with Santina Marella. Y'all remember that. And, of course, nowadays, she's married, of course, to another Hall of Famer, the Ultimate Opportunist, the Rated R Superstar Edge. They're married and they have 2 young daughters. So it'll be very interesting to see who will be inducting the Glamazon into the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's a who's who. I mean, Kurt Angle says he wants to have Stone Cold Steve Austin induct him into the Hall of Fame, and that will be hella fun if they pull that off. I'm not sure about the Rock and Roll Express. Theodore Long, many say it should be Ron Simmons. And, of course, also DDP reportedly wants Jake the Snake Roberts to induct him into the Hall of Fame. And for Beth Phoenix, it could be anybody. It could be Trish. Trish Stratus could do it. Maybe Mickie James, because I know their history. I mean, MF and I had a lot of fun calling their bouts back in 2007, 2008. I mean, those were hella fun back in the day. So we'll have more on that in a minute. Michael Bullock just walked in. So we'll hold off our Hall of Fame discussion momentarily because we want to catch Bullock up on what he missed. Michael Bullock, welcome. Glad to have you here. Let's get you involved here.
Yeah, thanks, fellas.
There's gonna be a lot of cutouts here, so you're not gonna be getting into much. But as far as relevant stuff goes, we started it off with the in-ring segment, Bill Goldberg and Kevin Owens' final hype for their Universal title match at Fastlane. So, Michael Bullock, it's all yours, front and center.
All right, thank you very much, Anthony Florio. Yeah, as far as the segment goes, I enjoyed it. I mean, I love the interaction with with Goldberg and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens basically saying, "You know what? You're next, but to the greatest WWE Universal Champion of all time." Well, of course, Bill Goldberg basically just saying, "Well, you're next, and I'm taking your title." So, yeah, I thought it was a nice final hype, and Kevin Owens really looked like that monster badass heel that he is now, especially now that they ended that friendship with him and Chris Jericho. So yeah, so should be very interesting to see how it goes, even though the rumors continue to flow that they think that. Now, here's what I think could happen in this match. I think maybe, and I know this may be a long shot, but maybe Chris Jericho could maybe come out and distract Kevin Owens, and that would lead Goldberg to hitting the spear, and for him to become the WWE Universal Champion, and that would eventually set up a match between Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho at WrestleMania. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but somehow I get the feeling that maybe that's what they're leaning towards, but we'll wait and see come Sunday night. So I thought it was a good segment to start. So Florio, let's just move on to whatever's next.
Well, there was a tag team match, New Day over Jinder Mahal and Rusev in 9 minutes and 45 seconds. So we decided that was a cutout. So we didn't get into that.
Yeah, just move on from that.
Akira Tozawa knocked off Noam Dar in 3 minutes. So we skipped that. But then we had a 2-for-1 deal. Charlotte Flair cut a promo with Bayley, and then Sasha Banks came out, and it was originally supposed to be Charlotte Flair and Dana Brooke against Bayley and Sasha Banks, but Dana Brooke was out, Nia Jax was in, and when all was said and done, Nia Jax and Charlotte won the match over Bayley and Sasha in 11 and a half minutes. So, your thoughts on the women's match, Bullet?
All right, I thought this was a good match between the teams here, and well, first off with the segment, I thought it was a good segment. Charlotte being her usual heel self, basically saying she's going to take back the Raw Women's Championship and basically stay perfect in pay-per-view. So we'll wait and see how that goes. And Bayley saying, you know what, I'm going to prove that my victory over you was no fluke, and I can beat you without Sasha Banks' help. So Sasha then comes to Bayley's defense, and yeah, like you said, it was originally supposed to be Dana Brooke teaming up with Charlotte, but you got Nia Jax here, so I'm gonna give it about I'm gonna give it 3 stars for the match. I mean, I thought it was a good match for what it was. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So Florio, I say we just move on.
Yeah, Big Cass with a win over Luke Gallows, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. That was another cutout. Sheamus with a quick squash of Titus O'Neil. That was a cutout. And then we had the other big segment of the night. In addition to the Goldberg segment, that was, of course, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins had a sit-down interview in the ring with Corey Graves, which was interrupted by Triple H. Triple H showed up, and then Samoa Joe. And then Triple H and Rollins, man, they tore the house down, Bullock. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely another great segment, and as far as I'm concerned, I think this was the segment of the night right here.
Absolutely.
Oh, what did you say?
I agree. We all agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, Seth Rollins, like you basically said, he was coming out to basically talk about his status, or should I say, an injury update, and to find out if he was going to be missing WrestleMania for the second straight year, because of course we all know last year he missed last year's WrestleMania with recovering from that knee injury. So yeah, so all I can say is this was definitely one I really enjoyed, and yeah, and I mean, just when Seth Rollins says, you know what, right now it's not looking good and it doesn't look like I'm going to be, my doctors are going to clear me in time for WrestleMania, so it looks like it's going to be a second straight year he was going to miss, and then Triple H comes out and basically says, you know what, it's good to be Seth, and the last time we saw it, we didn't think we'd see him again, and then he brings out Samoa Joe, and then Corey Graves basically clears out, and Triple H said, you know what, here's the answer to the question I want. Seth will not be at WrestleMania. He says, you know what, don't listen to the crowd. If it's good for you, you shouldn't be at WrestleMania. And Triple H then says, you know what, I knew this day was coming, and what I was getting into. I made Seth Rollins the man and face of WWE. and the WWE champion. So then afterwards, Samoa Joe was then approached the apron, and then Triple H went on and on and on about. And then Seth finally spoke, and then he says, he stopped Triple H just as he's about to leave the apron. And then Seth says, "A month ago, I told your wife I had nothing left to lose. This is more true now than ever. I will be at WrestleMania, and if it's the last thing he ever does, I swear it will be the last thing Triple H ever does." So, whew. So could this really mean we'll see him at WrestleMania and get a match between him and Triple H? I really hope so, but here's a little dirt sheet I read earlier. I don't know if you guys know about this. If Seth Rollins isn't cleared for WrestleMania, I've heard rumors of another opponent for Triple H. Any guesses?
No.
I heard rumors of Finn Balor going up against Triple H.
Whoa, my. Now that would be something.
Now, this is just a rumor.
Of course.
I don't know if it's true or not.
Well,
We'll definitely wait and see. But man, could you imagine that, Finn Balor and Triple H?
wow.
And I'll say, if that match happens, that match to me is going to steal the show at WrestleMania.
I agree. That definitely has potential to be a show stealer. Absolutely.
But we'll wait and see, as we still have a few more weeks before WrestleMania.
5.
Oh, absolutely. So, segment of the night for me. So, Florio, I say we just move on.
And we will move on. Then we had the Big Show. He squashed the Shining Stars in 2 minutes, so no need for you to get into that. TJ Perkins and your boy, the gentleman Jack Gallagher, they defeated Tony Nese and Neville in a 2-minute cruiserweight tag match. Not going to get you involved in that either. But what we are going to do, and we're going to pick up right where we left off here, we were getting into the Hall of Fame induction. The Hall of Fame induction announcement of the Glamazon, Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix, of course, going into the Hall of Fame here, and I basically ran down the list of accomplishments and shared my favorite moments with the Glamazon. And I mean, MF and I, we did the commentary for so many years. You remember back in the day. I mean, for some odd reason, we lost him. I don't know where he is, but I don't know if something happened on his end, but hopefully we'll get him back in just a moment. But right now, while we wait for MF to hopefully get back in, Michael Bullock, it was reported today, not just by all the news sites, but MF reported it, Derek Ferrera reported it, our good friend Ryan Avedisian reported it. So, yeah, Beth Phoenix going into the WWE Hall of Fame as the female inductee. Some people out there, including Derek, felt that it should have been the late Chyna, Joni Lauer, but Beth Phoenix getting the nod as the female inductee. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on the Glamazon going into the Hall? And no need to run down the accomplishments. I already did.
Yeah, I was going to say you already did. So, yeah, I mean, you know what? I got no problem with it. I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to disagree with me on it. I know Derek Ferrera will probably disagree with me. But yeah, I mean, some of the things she's done, I mean, she's a former diva and women's champion, but one of my favorite moments that really stuck out to me, the time she entered the Royal Rumble, when she basically did whatever she could to eliminate the Great Khali. She basically kissed him and tried to basically eliminate him, which she did, and I had that look of like, wow, did she really just eliminate a great collie, and she even even was in there for a little bit with CM Punk. So I guess this was basically her way of saying, "Hey, beat the women. I could also handle being in there with the men as well." So yeah, so definitely she definitely was one of my favorite wrestlers female wrestlers, of course, going from when she made her debut to the last time we saw her in the ring. So all I can basically say is congratulations to Beth Phoenix, the Glamazon. So, but who knows? I mean, maybe there's still a possibility that China could get in. I mean, I don't mind seeing 2 women get inducted. So we still got a lot more. We still got more inductees to come. So I wouldn't rule it out yet. So we'll wait and see. So there's really nothing more for me to say except, Florio, it's yours.
Well, now we're gonna get. Now I'd like to get Didi Woodson's thoughts about Beth Phoenix going into the Hall of Fame. After all, Didi Woodson is our women's wrestling specialist. After all, so Didi Woodson, Beth Phoenix, the Glamazon, gets the call to the Hall as the female inductee this year. How about it?
Hey, she deserves it. I mean, like you said, had so many accomplishments. She's had numerous competitors, and now, you know, having this whole new life and being a mom, and showing that there is life after WWE. So like I said, she's had women's titles, divas titles, just about everything you can think of, and fighting the men. So yeah, she deserves it. Yeah, I'd like to see Joni make it in, or even Miss Elizabeth, who's not in there, make it in. But it is what it is. When it's your time to come in, then it's your time to come in, and right now it's hers. And I'm with Bullock. If you want to put in more than one lady this year, then let's do it, because there is a lot of them out there who do deserve their time in the Hall of Fame. And so I've got nothing else to say about it, so I'll toss it back to you so you can hit Fletch up.
Yeah, we lost MF for a moment, but we got MF back in. Thank goodness. MF, we left. Bullock's all caught up and everything else, and you're the only one who's yet to give the testimony, if you will, about Beth Phoenix going into the Hall. And I know for a fact, you and I mean, back in our day when we used to do the Raw chats, we used to do the commentary and whatnot. Beth Phoenix matches, man. Some of them were fun. Others were, well, not so fun. But
some of them not so much.
But I remember the ones that I remember a couple that stood out. The matches that she had with Mickie James and Melina Perez. And boy, how did we have some fun with those, man.
And, a lot of people have been wondering, was she truly worthy of being in the Hall of Fame? Or is she worthy enough to be in this year's class? I know a lot of people are saying no. I know a lot of people says that it's too soon for her. But at the end of the day, look, I think WWE did what they thought was right. I know a lot of people thinks that, it should have been Molly Holly, it should have been Ivory. Of course, the biggest chatters has been, well, when is China getting in? The way I feel about this, about at least China, is there's a lot of baggage. Not only her reported drug use, but her career as an adult actress, film actress, or I'm gonna try to be as PG with that I can say something else, but I won't. Out of respect for not only you, Anthony, but for Dee Dee Whitson as well. It's a tough situation. As far as Molly Holly goes, she's been out of the ring for a number of years. We haven't seen her in a long time. I don't know if she ever wants to get back in that line of wrestling or to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, even though I think she's worthy of it. Ivory, look, I think the problem with Ivory is that the credentials is there, but she's got so much negative heat, especially towards Triple H. I hate to say this, I don't think we'll never see her in the Hall of Fame. I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. I don't think Ivory will ever get into the Hall of Fame because there is some genuine heat with some of the brass of the WWE. I would be shocked if we ever see Ivory get in. Just my point and point alone. Luna Vachon definitely deserves to be in there. There's no doubt about it. I'm not even going to argue that. I would love to see China, but again, I brought up all the negatives about her. For Beth Phoenix, she deserves it. I think she was definitely one of the few that really stood out in WWE. She was definitely a major player. I really liked what I saw from her in her career. So, I mean, yes, we talked about all the good stuff. We did talk a little bit about the negative stuff, but I think she is more than worthy enough to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, yes, I do believe she is worthy enough and deserves. Now, the big question is, Anthony, you brought up Mickie James. I mean, we heard about Trish Stratus. Her name got thrown around. But one name I actually heard, and maybe the reason why she is committing to Orlando and committing to WrestleMania, or at least being in during WrestleMania weekend, is I think, and I'm going on a very limb here, but I've heard rumors that it might be Kelly Kelly, that she might be the one to induct Beth Phoenix into the Hall of Fame. I've heard some rumors about it. It would not be a shocker now. I think Kelly and her had a really good rivalry for a little bit. And I know for a fact that Kelly and her were close friends. As a matter of fact, I believe Beth was a bridesmaid for Kelly's wedding a few years ago. So, and I think Beth and Kelly did in turn also was a bridesmaid for her wedding with Edge. So it's very possible that Kelly and Beth might be reuniting themselves together for this Hall of Fame. So, I mean, that's just, again, a rumor that I've been hearing. Take it for whatever it's worth, but that's what I've heard. So, all right, Anthony, I guess since you're caught up, let's move on.
Yeah, well deserved indeed. And on behalf of all of us here at Ridiculously Raw, Cerebral Smack Talk Wrestling Forum, what have you, we send out our heartfelt congratulations to the Glamazon Beth Phoenix. Well deserved indeed. And it'll be interesting to see what happens come March 31st when she's inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame the Friday night before WrestleMania. So, all right. And now we get to our main event when it comes to the wrestling portion of it. And what a matchup we had here. Samoa Joe, one-on-one with Cesaro. Samoa Joe wins the match in about 8 minutes. And I don't remember who leads off here. I believe, you know what? I think actually MF starts it off because I think I led off on Beth Phoenix's Hall of Fame thing. So MF, I'm gonna actually start it off with you here. You better than anybody know the history of these two guys because Samoa Joe and Cesaro, they had a thing in ROH back when Cesaro was known as Claudio Castiglione. Am I right or am I right?
It was a very good rivalry at that time. I'll tell you this, I'm sorry. This was a good fight, solid match. I liked what I saw, but I'm sorry guys, if anybody expected this to be you know, Ring of Honor, and the Code of Honor and everything that went down in that fight, that was a little more meaningful, a little more deeper, a little more uglier, whatever you want to say. The matches were amazing, but I'm sorry. Anybody who thinks that this was a good match it was the fight of the night, WWE standards, fight of the night, no doubt about it. I'll even go as far to call it a fight of the night. I'm going to give this between somewhere of about 2.5 to 3 stars. But let me tell you guys, I'm sorry. It was nowhere close. They had in Ring of Honor. I mean, there was one fight that was, I'm talking maybe 4.25 stars. I mean, it was an epic match, a great matchup. It was amazing what these guys did. I mean, it was a lot less restricted. The moves were even more dangerous than they are in WWE. Sorry, just my thoughts alone, but I've seen some better matches than I saw here tonight. And like I said, the fight of the night for this show, but like I said, I've seen some great battles. This was nowhere close to what they did back in the day. So 2.5 to 3 is my rating for the fight of the night. Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'll give it about 2.5 to 3 stars as well. I mean, I thought it was good for what it was, but nothing really that special about it. So, nothing else to say. Dee Dee Woodson, I give it to you.
Dee Dee Woodson, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Samoa Joe and Cesaro, how about it?
Yeah, I'm going to give it 3 stars. It was like y'all said, it was an okay match, but it was definitely out of the whole show the match of the night. No doubt about it. So, not going to say much more about it. So, it's over to you.
Yeah, I agree. It was the fight of the night. Solid 3 stars for me. Joe versus Cesaro was disappointing for anyone looking for a classic, like MF said, but it was also a wisely booked match. Joe needs to be a dominant monster badass heel right now. It's not about having long competitive bouts. The time will come for that. The buildup of Joe has been great so far. Plus, Cesaro was protected with the knee injury. The post-match brawl was solid. And Sami Zayn, of course, came out and brawled with Joe, and we knew it was going to be eventually announced, and it is now official, my friends. We're going to get it at Fastlane. Another former ROH rivalry. MF could tell you stories on days about it. Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn, it's on. We're going to see them go at it at Fastlane. Oh boy, that's going to be awesomeness right there. And fight was good, had good intensity. Joe came off like a beast. They worked Cesaro's knee angle well, and it protected Cesaro. So that's really all you could ask for. So, and now for the main event segment of the night, contract signing. Braun and Bullock. You know where we're going with this. Braun Strowman, roar!
Roar!
Yes, that's part of our Raw chat right there. The Braun Strowman roar. Yep, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, Mick Foley was in the ring, general manager. Braun Strowman says, "Okay, you've done enough here, Foley." And then Mick Foley goes on, and then Mick Foley, oh boy, did he come off strong! Whoa, the intensity that Foley showed. He's like, "I'm still the general manager," and all this good stuff. Yeah, that was great. And said he was sick and tired of being talked down to. And then Roman Reigns, boo, he showed up and And boy, oh my goodness, did these two go at it. Michael Bullock. Oh boy. Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns. And what do we always say when it's a contract signing anymore? The words of JBL?
It doesn't end well.
It ain't going to end well. And boy, howdy, this did not end well. But boy, howdy, was it hella fun.
Yeah, contracts.
Bullock, you muted your mic by mistake. Bullock, you muted your mic there. Hello, Bullock. You accidentally muted your mic by mistake. We can't hear you. All right. Not sure what's going on here. I think for the moment we're just gonna throw it to Didi Woodson real quick. Didi, your thoughts on this segment, this contract signing with Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, and my goodness, it was hella fun, like I said.
It was very interesting segment, to say the least. But at the same time, I mean, wow, you know, all the players in there, and you know, Strowman throwing Reigns around like a rag doll, but then again, you know, Reigns spearing him through, you know, barriers. Me personally, you know, I felt bad for the security guard that got taken out. I hope he really did not get hurt in the segment, because that would be unfortunate if that was a real injury for him. But you know, it was one, you know, humdinger of a segment. It's definitely, for me, the second best segment of the night. So, you know, without a shadow of a doubt, you know, one of the most unique contract signings I think I've seen in a while. But of course, contract signings always end in brawls. So that's about all I have to say about it. So I'll toss it back to you.
Yeah, I'm back here. I don't know what happened. I mean, I don't know what happened. I don't know if I mean, I got dropped for some reason.
Oh. Well, you're back in now.
It seems like everybody's internet's been acting up tonight. I don't know if it's from Cox or if it's just something going on with just the net in general, because because Didi Woodson had an issue at the beginning. I was dropped off a little bit. Now Bullock.
Yeah, and I don't even have Cox. You know, it used to be formerly Time Warner, and now it's Spectrum. So
I don't know what it could have been, but I mean, either way, I mean, this was a great contract signing. I mean, especially with the brawl. So that's pretty much all I'm gonna say. So, Florio, it's yours.
Second best segment of the night here. You could honestly make an argument that this was the segment of the night. I mean, but it's really hard because of that awesome segment with Seth Rollins and Triple H. But it was well played. Regardless of who wins on Sunday, they abandoned the usual back and forth approach to the build and made Strowman look dominant each time. Reigns also got his moment when he signed the contract, despite the latest beating. This has been really well done. WWE had to be encouraged that the fans were chanting for Reigns and were still booing Strowman. It's one night, though. Let's see if Milwaukee feels the same way on Sunday, and if the IWC capital of the world, Chicago, feels the same way next Monday night when Raw comes to Chicago in the Allstate Arena. But nonetheless,
oh boy,
yeah, that's all you can say.
Roman Reigns. All I can say is, may God have mercy on your soul, because that IWC crowd in Chicago certainly will not.
No, indeed not. But this was a very good segment to close the show. I have enjoyed the interaction between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. Braun has looked like an absolute beast, dominating Reigns in almost every turn. Reigns got in more offense here, but at the end of the day, Braun laid him out once again, especially with that top turnbuckle spot. Reigns did start to win over the crowd. The interactions have been strong, and the match should be a Class A Haas battle. No doubt about that. So, to me, second best segment of the night, even though you can really make an argument that this was the segment of the night. So, there's nothing left for me to say. I'm going to set this up as best as hype man as I can here. I'm gonna give MF this. I'm gonna throw MF a big bone here. MF, was this or was this not a Be a Man segment to close out this show?
I mean, it was a great battle. It was a great segment, and I actually did not mind everything that was going on leading into it. I think everything felt good. I definitely loved the interaction between Braun Strowman and Foley. I think that was at least a great start to it. Then behind that, then you had, Roman Reigns and Strowman down the whole arena. I love that. I loved everything. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Everything about that. And then, towards the end, yeah, you had that major spot, and I honestly thought that was a botch. I didn't think that was real. I thought that was just a mistake, or when Roman went off the turnbuckle and he really pulled, like you saw that thing explode. I was thinking, that that was probably an honest mistake, or a freak accident. I'm like, oh my god, and I actually got genuinely concerned for Roman. I'm like, oh man, I don't think that was supposed to happen. Is he actually all right? Did he, did it crush his chest? Because I mean, trust me, I've actually been in an actual wrestling ring, and I've actually gotten the chance to, but because after the RWA shows, I've actually gotten down to the ring, and I've actually gotten in just to get the feel for it and everything else. And let me tell you, the turnbuckles, that's pure. The padding is a very soft padding, and then you got the steel reinforced underneath that padding, and let me tell you, it's real. And then the ring ropes is actually steel wire wrapped up in almost like a duct tape substance. So that's why. So I mean, it is as real as it can get. So that's why I have such a major league admiration for these wrestlers and the abuse that they basically put their bodies through. And again, that spot at the end, I kind of freaked out. I was like, oh my god, is he all right? Is he all right? But this is awesome. As far as the security dude, I hope he's okay as well. Like I said, I think he was just wrong place at the wrong time. And let me tell you, there are security guys at the arena. That is not from WWE. That is actually a legit arena security that needs to protect the fans. And I think what happened, it was just one of those spots where the guy got caught in a bad spot, and yeah, he got hurt pretty bad. So how's that gonna look? I don't know. Hopefully he is okay, like Dee said. Definitely. I mean, could make this as one of the top segments of the evening, but this was really good. This was really, really good. So nothing more to say, Anthony.
Yes, and it is now time for our overall review of this go home to Fastlane edition of Monday Night Raw. All started off since Dee had to take over for Bullock after Bullock's little glitch. It's between 6.5 to 6 3/4 out of 10 for me. There was a fair amount of filler this week, but overall, I felt that they did some good things to set up the pay-per-view. I felt that the show largely flowed well and did not drag or feel long like some weeks. Not great, but a solid go-home show. What do you need to see from this show? It's very simple. The Joe and Cesaro fight, the Triple H and Rollins segment, the Goldberg-Owens opening segment, and, of course, the contract signing to close it out. Those are really the only must-see things and recommendations that I can give you for this Monday Night Raw tonight. So 6.5 to 6 3/4 out of 10. That's the best I can go. Mostly 6.5. So, and Matt, your thoughts on this go home to fast lane edition of Raw tonight?
I agree. 6.5 is definitely the rating I would give. It was all right for what it was worth. I'm not gonna say it was anything more than that. You ran down the best highlights for me. The one I don't think there's really anything else I can add to that. So yeah, Mike Bullock is yours.
What did you guys give it?
About 6.5. I know Anthony went 6.5 to 6 3/4.
I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10 as well. So yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So D Woodson, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'll agree with the 6.5. The only, good besides the few segments, is the storyline progression, and so see you guys tomorrow. Good night.
All right, good night, D.D. Woodson. We'll see you tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. MF will give us the scoop on that in just a little bit. But before we get into that, Tony's take, and I've got some interesting thoughts to share with you about 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. And let's get into 205 Live first. 3 big matches, and here are the matches that we're going to get. We started it off with Akira Tozawa squaring off against the Brian Kendrick. The Brian Kendrick wins it, 5 minutes and 42 seconds. Second best fight of the show, 2.5 stars. I understand that Kendrick needed the win and the heels should win the first meeting. I'm also glad that he didn't cleanly defeat Tozawa, but the finish came up as a bit too silly to me. But I will say that it was fresh compared to a cheap shot and roll up hooking and pulling the tights and getting the win. So solid fight there. Second best fight of the night here. Mustafa Ali squared off against Noam Dar. Noam Dar won it, 7 minutes and 50 seconds. Another 2.5 stars. Like most Dar matches, it was rather average, but fine. It just feels as if his matches lack real aggression and energy. He never gets out of first gear. His stuff isn't bad. It's just bland, while Ali feels wasted right now. He was getting over with great energy and a spectacular finish, but have cooled him off for no reason whatsoever. And then in the main event, the gentleman Jack Gallagher against the premier athlete Tony Nese. Jack Gallagher wins it, 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Fight of the night, 3.5 stars. I thought that this was a very good main event. Just good and clean professional wrestling. Gallagher gets a win over an opponent that is comparable to Neville and maintains his momentum ahead of Fastlane. Nese keeps putting in strong performances, and WWE must really like him because he feels protected in almost every loss, getting a lot and coming off like one of the main players. So that's all I can say on that. My rating for this, between 6 3/4, teetering on 7 out of 10. Largely forgettable show, with the main event being all you really need to see. Okay, Austin Aries announcing his own video package was also great. Commentary keeps telling me that this is the most exciting hour of wrestling on TV, but it rarely is. And if you aren't going to wow with the wrestling, you have to make the show worth it in some other way. 205 Live continues to be a solid but unspectacular show most weeks. So that's all I can say on that. I don't know what's planned for tomorrow night, so we'll keep an eye on that. And now Impact Wrestling, and of course, if you didn't hear the big news that came out earlier tonight, Drew Galloway and the Broken Hardys, they're leaving TNA. That's the big rumor. That's the big dirt sheet that came out earlier tonight. And can you see these boys coming back to WWE? I think so. That's all I can say. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. That's all I can say on that. And I know if they do bring the Hardys back, it's a shame that it most likely will not be under the Broken Hardy gimmick, because that's the best thing those boys have ever done. Trust me on that. So, but let's get into Impact Wrestling for the last week. And I'll tell you right now, it was definitely a better show than last week. I'll tell you that right now. Cody Rhodes came back. Him and Brandy, they had the segment with Moose, and Cody turns on Moose. He turns heel. Okay. I said the show was better, but this was one of the lowlights of it. That was not good. The acting was poor. It just felt like it came out of nowhere. Cody should have been focused on Bobby Lashley upon his return. But since he's in the Bullet Club, he has the idea in his head that he can be an effective heel. But I don't buy it in New Japan. I don't buy it in Ring of Honor, and I didn't feel it here. Cody as a bad guy feels like a guy playing a bad guy. I didn't find this to be a good segment in any way. I have no excitement for the feud with Moose and don't want to see Impact turn into the Rhodes family drama hour. That's all there is to say on that. Eli Drake and Tyrus, they had a match. Tyrus won it in 2 minutes and 8 seconds via disqualification. Worst fight of the night. No rating to a dud. Drake talks his way out of being killed. The DQ was clever as well. I'll give it that, but that's it. Then we had Jade come out, and Jade challenged Rosemary to a last knockout standing match for the Knockouts title, which Rosemary accepted. This was great. This was a very good segment here. These two play so well off of each other on promos and in the ring. I said it before, and I'll say it again. They really need to go all in on them both to really rebuild the division. And with Coach Scott D'Amore coming back, you remember Scott D'Amore from Team Canada. He's going to be working with the Knockouts now. If anybody can save the Knockouts, there's the man for the job right there. Bram of the DCC went up against Jesse Goddard. Jesse Goddard won the match in 4 minutes and 5 seconds. 2-star match. I'm thrilled that Goddard is getting some attention and love. But holy crap, the DCC is such a horribly booked stable. Goddard outsmarted him last week and then not only basically beat 2 guys on his own here, but also again outsmarted them and escaped. I wouldn't be shocked if the DCC is scrapped by the end of the next tapings in March due to how damaged they are. Broken Hardys, their expedition for gold continues in the CWF, and they actually won the belts, so good stuff there. Josh Barnett went up against some guy named Bad Bones. Josh Barnett won the match in 2 minutes and 57 seconds. No rating to a dud. It was good and largely what it should have been, but I would have had Barnett completely steamroll Bones. Barnett should not have sold anything from him here, especially if he's facing Lashley for the belt on this upcoming show. X Division title on the line. Trevor Lee defending against former champion DJZ. Trevor Lee wins the match and retains the X Division championship he rolled him up, pulled the tights, got the win. As far as the wrestling fights go, this was actually the fight of the night, believe it or not. 2 3/4 stars. Pretty good match overall. They kept a nice pace and they made the most of the limited time that was given to them. And now this was the big segment of the week. The quote-unquote wedding ceremony of Braxton Sutter and Laurel Van Ness. And when all was said and done, like all weddings in professional wrestling, it went off with a hitch. It didn't go off without a hitch. It went off with a major hitch. Braxton saying, Laurel, no, I'm done with you. I don't love you. I love Allie. And then they made out. And Maria freaks out. And all right. Going into this, I had a lot of issues with it. I'm not going to lie. I absolutely did not give 2 craps about this segment, even though I do think Laurel Van Ness is a very beautiful woman. I will admit that. She's a stunner. I will admit it. The biggest issue here, and the biggest gripe that I have with it, the commentary. Josh Matthews and the Pope, they would not shut up. They never laid out enough to allow the dialogue to tell the story of the crowd to come across as hot as they were. And make no mistake about this. The crowd, that crowd in the Impact Zone, they were into this big time. And they helped make it come off way better than I actually imagined. Their investment into it, into the Allie character, has been the key to this whole thing. And really caused the whole angle to come to life during the dire Gail-Maria feud. Thanks to the crowd, this came off as one of the hottest TNA angles in years, with the fans feeling genuinely invested into a babyface character. The question now is, can the company properly follow up on this with Allie? And going forward, can the company rebuild the Knockouts division, which has been held hostage one way or another by Maria, as much as I love her, for the better part of a year or so? I pray to God, hope so. Allie is the most over female that they've likely ever had, and they have the Jade and Rosemary feud as well. And with Coach Scott D'Amore returning, I have higher hopes than I normally would. So, color me surprised. I was really surprised with how good that angle actually was. I dreaded it, but it came off way better than I could have imagined. My overall thoughts: 7.25 out of 10. Good show based off the particularly strong wedding segment. It was better than the prior 2 weeks. Josh Barnett looked good in his in-ring debut, while Rosemary and Jade continue to be great. Hopefully things pick up with the new creative in charge at the March tapings. Of course, Jeff Jarrett's coming back in the whole 9 yards. They have things to work off of, or I just hope that they have a solid plan in place. So, well done. So 7.25 out of 10 is my rating for this, and let's see what's on tap for this upcoming week, shall we? All right. Bear with me for a moment as I try to pull this up. I think this is where we should get the world title match with Bobby Lashley and Josh Barnett. I do believe so. I'm just all I know is that man, oh man, I couldn't believe it how good that segment was. Just unreal to me. All right. See what we have here. All right, Moose calls out Cody. Trevor Lee will go up against Andrew Everett for the X Division Championship. Cowboy James Storm will face Jesse Goddard. Grand Championship match, Moose against Drew Galloway. Rosemary and Jade, last knockout standing for the Knockouts Championship. And yes, I am correct. Bobby Lashley, Josh Barnett, World Heavyweight Championship match. So just about every belt's on the line with the exception of the tag belts. So, all right. So that'll do it for this. So there you go. So that, and I see MF agree with all my sentiments there. So, all right. That will do it for this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all very much for tuning in. We're going to do our shout outs now. So fellas, whichever one of you wants to start it off, feel free to say me for last and I'll set up the future content, including an interesting Strictly Sports show. So Bullock, I see you're ready. So go ahead.
All right. Of course, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's Ridiculously Raw or the Cerebral Smack Talk or Strictly Sports. It doesn't really matter. We thank you so very much for tuning in here tonight. So, of course, shout outs to all of our other super fans out there. You guys know who you are. Of course, to all of our friends from our high school days, you guys know who you are. So, and of course, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I can. Of course, the Grand Poobah himself, Derek Ferrera. So, yeah, of course, that's pretty much going to do it for me. So, tonight, well, if I'm not on the Cerebral Smack Talk, I will see you guys Friday night on Strictly Sports, of course. Oh, and one more thing, of course, I just found out about this. A special shout out and congratulations to Tony Petrarca. This, of course, this Wednesday on Eyewitness News, they will celebrate 30 years of Tony Petrarca working at Channel 12. I mean, what an accomplishment to be with that company for 30 long years. So, on behalf of all of us here, we want to send our congratulations to Tony Petrarca. I mean, I had the chance to meet him a long time ago at we had this event called the Buddy Walk, and I actually got to walk with him and talk a little bit about the weather. So, yeah, so big ups to you, Tony Petrarca. So, yeah, so now, like I said, so until, if not Tuesday night, then until Friday night, this is Mike Bullock saying thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up, talk to you later. yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, and of course, enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. So, that being said, Fletch, your shout outs.
Yes, indeed. First off, I want to say thank you to all the great fans out there. You guys are the best. Super fans, you guys know who you guys are. My friends in the high school days, you guys know who you are. Um, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Um, my thoughts and prayers have to go out to a family tonight. I got a very heavy heart. Somebody who I'm very close with was involved in a real nasty incident that happened last night. Katrina Valls, who's actually a friend of ours from the high school days from East Providence High. She was actually in one of my U.S. History classes when we were in my junior year in high school, and she's a very good friend of mine. Somebody who I'll consider a good friend. She's part of, you know, she was a good friends with Sean May Lambert, Tyrone Campbell, a whole bunch of them guys, and we had a nice little crew back in the day, and unfortunately, last night there was a car accident in Warwick. Her and her family all were hurt. So I want to give my special thoughts and prayers out to her entire family, not just her, but her kids as well. It was a pretty um it's tough. It's a really nasty situation. It's a real tough situation. All her friends have been sending out prayers, good wishes, well thoughts. Sean May as well, and I want to do this personally, publicly. That my thoughts and prayers are with her and her entire family in this tough ordeal. That we're thinking about you, and we're hoping for a speedy recovery and hope for the best for everybody involved. So there's that, and then on on the Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night, SmackDown Live. You guys know two major fights have been announced. Apollo Crews goes one-on-one with Dolph Ziggler in a chairs match, but the biggest fight of the night, Mickie James versus Becky Lynch. 2 out of 3 falls. How epic is that going to be? That's going to be tomorrow night on SmackDown Live, including the match that will determine the number one contender and the man that's going to fight for Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania for the WWE title, the phenomenal AJ Styles versus Luke Harper. Of course, that stems from the controversial ending from the Battle Royale 1 week ago. If there's any other news, I will have that for you guys. And it is going to start at 10:30 Eastern. Please note, it's not at 10 o'clock. 10. We're going to start the Cerebral Smack Talk. So with that said, that is it. I'm Michael Fletcher. You know the routine. Hugs and hand pounds. I'm out. Good night. Anthony, take it home.
All right, we'll do MF and 10:30. Mark that down. 10:30 tomorrow night over on MF channel Brace Fan 95. I know our next all new installment of the Cerebral Smack Talk. Looking forward to that. All right. Special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there. Continue to make our shows as over as they are, whether it's whether it's this show or Cerebral Smack Talk or Strictly Sports or whatever else we got going on. Your support means the world to us. You are the best fans in the world. Simple as that. We thank you for making our projects as over as they are. Dee Woodson and her family, as always. Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our other first ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway. Our other crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Albertus and Rob Parsons, and of course, Derek Ferreira himself, the man who puts it all together. And that's it. Tomorrow night, 10:30, like MF said, Cerebral Smack Talk. You know the rundown. SmackDown Live. And whatever else MF has in his Mikey's mindset. And Friday night, strictly sports, gentlemen. Not as loaded of a docket as we had last week, but we have a docket, and here it is. Matt, we're going to talk about Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson named the new president of the Los Angeles Lakers. Here's an MF special for you, MF. Manny Pacquiao is gonna go up against Amir Khan in April. We're gonna get MF's thoughts on that. We're gonna have a triple main event here, guys. 2 big previews. We're gonna preview the World Baseball Classic. We're also gonna preview UFC 209. That's another MF special for you, MF, and we'll close it out, of course, with our NBA power rankings. So there's your docket for Strictly Sports, and I don't believe we're going to be able to do a Fastlane preview show because I know MF's going to be going up to see UFC 209. And Michael Bullock, of course, has his very special 24-hour plunge event, and I'm sure that's going to interfere with that. So, but maybe we'll work something out here in the 11th hour. So, but if not, then but what I can tell you is we're definitely going to have a recap show on Sunday night. That's for sure. As far as a preview show goes, well, I'm not really sure. We're going to have to work something out. But that's it. That's it for this. So until tomorrow night for Cerebral Smack Talk, it's ridiculously over. Gentleman Anthony Floyer here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, the Twisted Angel, D.D. Woodson, and of course, our Imperial Grand Poobah himself, the Hardcore Pipe Bomb, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. Good night, everybody. You were watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com.